So, what do you want to play? Going to happen for Artik, because Marj might lead Artik. That's a prediction. So,
Maybe we can do the happy tune and then for
now,
kirtan we can practice for some.
you mean like afterwards?
Yeah,
For
when
the
we do the little.
okay. Please welcome His Grace Bhagavat Ashraya Prabhu. They just had 3 hours of that, what we had yesterday.
Oh,
We
my
just finished the drama.
Oh my
And so
God.
that's why people vacated for a
I
while.
understand.
Please have a seat.
I have to leave sharp on 5
You have to leave at 5.
to get there for the,
Okay,
because I couldn't turn him down. Really.
sure. So leave it at 5. Of
So
course.
whatever, if
Anytime.
I just have to go.
Sure. Hare Krishna. And Ramananda, Prabhu, if you'll just mic up, and just make sure mics are available, and one mic up for the harmonious.
Prabhu? Is there a little table we can have some water on? Yes, yes. If you don't mind?
Is that Kent? Did he come with you?
Yeah, he's driving me around today.
Okay.
Thank you. I may need it. You're very kind. Thank you. Very prescient that was.
Today is a very active day. We means the whole community had a presentation from the academy, and now we'll be starting. We're expecting His Holiness Indra Junior Maharaj at any time. We're not sure what will happen when he comes, but it'll be ecstatic, whatever it is. So we're going to start with what we know best when we don't know what to do, and that's to chant Hare Krishna. So we'll chant, and then, as you can see, we have Bhagavat Ashraya Prabhu here. We'll also have a slide presentation where we'll be discussing some special points. At least that's the plan. And Bhagavat Ashraya Prabhu has to leave straight away at 5 o'clock for the program in San Francisco. So if he gets up and walks out and you don't get a chance to talk to him, that's where he went. Jai Radha, and then we'll go right into it.
I don't really have good enough time.
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Sounds like Saturday Sunday. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari. Shodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira One more time. Jamuna Tira Jamuna Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare more time. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Last chance, come on now. Everybody together now, one more time. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Go Premanande, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo. Srila Indraduna Maharaj, thank you very much for coming in the door. And we've noticed an uplift in the energy in Silicon Valley in general. Over the last couple of days, I was wondering what was happening, so I inquired here and there. And they said Maharaj landed, and it was just at the moment they said you came into the airport and touched down that this upsurge occurred. But now we're beside ourselves, and so we're very grateful for you to come here on your way to the Sadhu Sangha. Everyone, please welcome His Holiness Indraduna. Instead of three really loud Hari Bols, we got 50 loud Hari Bols. Are you ready? Hari Bol! 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 And although Maharaj sent a message to us several times saying that he's jet lagged, just wants to sit for class, we're not having class tonight. We're just sitting up here and chatting. So if it would be really nice if you could come up and sit here. We'll move the chair up, and then we're just going to chat. Bhagavad Ashraya Prabhu and I yesterday had just a conversation going on some philosophical points, and we'd trade around, not a class, just a kind of discussion. Maharaj is into it, I can tell. Okay, so somebody bring the chair, and he can go right here. Inconvenience is regretted. Is it okay?
He wants to just sit there.
He wants to just sit?
He just wants to sit.
He wants to just sit. Okay.
He just wants to sit.
One has to do one's due diligence.
Hi.
And may I have the clicker? Did you get the slideshow? So first I'll ask Bhagavad Ashraya Prabhu to say a invocation prayer in English, just of any kind, some kind of prayer to start us off.
Start us off.
And some, yeah, if you could keep that like 2 inches from you, that would.
About 2 inches from my voice.
What? I sent you a slideshow on WhatsApp, and I need the clicker for it when you get a chance.
You do this stuff, I can't do it.
Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Panchatattva, Shri Shri Gauranitai, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Lakshmana Shringadev. If you so desire, please bless us in this assembly so that we may glorify you for your pleasure and we may thereby be engaged in your eternal devotional service. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat.
Hare Krishna.
Taking up from our conversation yesterday, we were discussing a few points, and today thought I'd bring up a few more points. One of them is what is karma? And it's a perennially fascinating topic. In fact, people everywhere have heard the word karma, and inevitably whenever I meet people in public and ask them, what does karma mean to you? What do you think 90% say? What goes around comes around, which is a fairly accurate description. But we'd like to ask Bhagavad Ashraya Prabhu to give some thoughts just to start off about karma from any side of the issue you wish.
Well, the first thing about karma that we need to understand is that all karma is temporary. That we live in a temporary world, and there is no such thing as karma in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, there is reaction to your activities, but everything is positive. The reaction to your activities in the spiritual world is ever-increasing bliss. Whereas in the material world, this is a temporary place full of miseries. And all of the miseries come because of our interaction with the three modes of material nature. And within all of that, we have what are called the laws of karma. Very intricate laws, very, very detailed and intricate laws of how there is a reaction to every action. Knowingly or unknowingly, you do something in the material world, you get a reaction for it. And that reaction is binding you into the repetition of birth, death, disease, and old age within the 8,400,000 species in the material world. And the only way that this can be stopped, is by coming into pure devotional service to the Lord. As soon as one enters into devotional service to the Lord, you still have to act in the world, but you act for the pleasure of Krishna, and for that there is no material reaction. You become liberated by your actions, whereas every action without Krishna consciousness is an action which causes you to become more and more bound up in the miseries of the material world. How's that for a beginning?
It's really good.
I
I think
we
it covered
rolling?
the subject matter completely. We can go back to kirtan. Who would like to give a reflection or a question to expand the conversation? Yes, Kameshwari and then Srivas Pandit. Please activate the green mic.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So I saw that picture, and I remembered one time on book distribution. So how Vaisesika taught her, we asked him, do you heard about karma? And then the person said yes, and he said that the karma is like an arrow we shoot in the space, and it goes around and it takes its own time, but in a timely manner it comes back to us and it's going to hit us. So that's what I think of karma, and he says that I'm always like to think like that, so I'm conscious of what I do. I just remembered that, and I thought
That's what the passerby said.
Yes, that's
person on
what
the
the
street.
passerby said. Yeah.
A lot of philosophers, I mean, they're all living entities. They have some clear idea that something's going on here in the world. It's a profound idea people have that it comes back to you, whatever you do. It's a really good way of putting it. Thank you. Srivas Pandit Prabhu.
I remember years ago I saw a movie. There was it was about people working out relationships within a family, and there were grudges and so forth being held from the past, and people were trying to get on with their lives. And there was this recurring line that kept saying, this one man kept saying, "You might think you're done with the past, but the past is not done with you." Yes.
Srivas Prabhu.
That's a good one. Thank you. So, ISKCON as a community has been moving away from temple-based to congregation-based, which means that how fearful should one be of karma, especially in the job and other quote-unquote non-devotional aspect? Should you be very, very conscious and live fearfully, being aware of karma? Or, as a Krishna conscious devotee working outside, how much should one be aware, and what should be one's attitude towards karma? Let's put it that way. I mean, a lot of people come up and say to me that, should I be a pushover at office in the name of humility, or should I just suffer or suppress my desires in the name of karma? So there is a lot of confusion on the right attitude towards the concept of karma for a congregation-based devotee who work outside. So if you can clear your thoughts, that would be really useful. Thank you.
Are you talking to me? Okay.
Can you restate the question in one sentence, please?
How aware or fearful should one be of karma while going about doing one's daily duties, both materially and spiritually? Thank you.
Like on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being the most afraid? There's nothing wrong with fear. In the 10th canto, 2nd chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, we find that Devaki is afraid of Kamsa. And we just saw the play. Right before you came, Maharaj, we had and Bhagavad Ashray Prabhu, we had a drama. It was really good. The kids did it. And it was about Kamsa, all the way up to the Kamsa's getting killed. And in that pastime in the Srimad Bhagavatam, as you know well, there's a commentary, a running commentary about fear and how Devaki was afraid of Kamsa. And Prabhupada, following the commentary of the Acharya, says that this fear burns up our attachment to the material world as represented by the Shadgarbha Asuras. As most of you know, there was 6 children born before. We had Baladev, who got switched, and then we have Durga Devi appearing in the prison, but Krishna had taken birth as the 8th son. Then the first 6 actually were representative of Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Mada, Moha, and Matsarya. And it was already destined that they would be killed. But carrying that incident forward, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains how by being afraid of the material nature, one burns up these bad tendencies that are naturally there. And Prahlad Maharaj says it in his prayers to Lord Nrsingadev that the whole world's afraid of you. In fact, he says the elephants are running away by hearing the roaring that's coming from you. And he said, but I'm not afraid of that. What I'm afraid of is Vishnu Maya. Because he says at any time, Nishpidyamanam upakarsha vibho prapanam, I can get caught back up again and dragged away. So just as a start to that conversation and the answer to it, fear is not necessarily bad. One shouldn't become neurotic, of course. We have to move about in the world. But I heard, and I'm yet to verify, but somebody told me that Prabhupada said that Prabhupada, my disciples are not afraid enough of Maya. Over to you, Bhagavad Ashraya Prabhu.
For me, it gets down to what are you thinking about? Because Krishna repeats in the Bhagavad Gita, just think of me, in two important verses, 934 and 1865. And he also says to Arjuna, you think of me and fight. He doesn't say you fight and think of me. He says you think of me and fight. So one thing Prabhupada used to say very often is you mold your life in such a way that you're always thinking of Krishna. And that is our fundamental practice, whether we live in a temple or we live in a house or we work in a corporation or we sell books on the street or whatever we do as devotees. That's our core activity, to fix our minds on Krishna. And in that sense, we need to therefore become dependent on Krishna's omniscience. We all accept Krishna's omnipotence, and we give our plan to him to use his omnipotence to sort things out for us. And we don't depend on Krishna to manage what he's managing anyway. So it may seem like a conundrum, especially if you're in a job which is highly technical or so on, and you have to be focused on that. To say, well, think of Krishna and do your job. But ultimately, Krishna is the doer. Not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Lord. So I always come back to this point that you think of Krishna and depend on Krishna in all situations. And miracles occur. I remember once I read something Albert Einstein said, you can think that there is no such thing as a miracle, or you can think that everything is a miracle. And especially once you come into Krishna consciousness, you begin to see, if you are becoming conscious of Krishna in his omniscience, his omnipotence, his omnipresence, that miracles are happening all the time.
If you please put up on the screen 8.6.
8.6.
Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yacha mayarpita manobuddhir mami vaishyasya samshaya. And in this verse, hopefully it's 8.6, in this verse, just pursuing the train of thought Bhagavad Ashraya Prabhu gave us and giving Prabhupada's purport. In this verse, Tasmad, Krishna says, therefore, and what precedes those two verses are where Krishna says, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam. Actually, it's antakali chamameva smaran mukta kalevaram. And then yam yam vapi smaran bhavam, which everyone knows, because this is a verse which describes how when we leave the present body, the amalgamation, the aggregate of all of our thoughts and feelings comes to bear. And it's like a wave that carries us to the next situation in the material world. It's variegated situations in the material world forced by our own consciousness. And Krishna is describing how we're propelling ourselves, basically. So in the next verse, 8.7, he says, Tasmad, therefore, sarveshu kaleshu, at all times. Therefore, at all times and in all places, mamanusmara yujacha, go on remembering me. And Mayarpita and Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha. Yudhya means to fight. So obviously he's talking to Arjuna. He's talking to all of us. You have to fight. You have to work. You have to. It's a struggle to maintain in the material world. Jivo jivasya jivanam. Mayarpita mano bhutir. So unto me, arpita, surrender everything, and mana, keep your mind, buddhi, intelligence, engaged in me. Mami vaishyasya samshaya. Then without a doubt, you'll be able to attain me. Now the purport is especially important, but we'll read the translation. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna, at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. Short purport, right to the point. This instruction to Arjuna is very important for all men engaged in material activities. The Lord does not say that one should give up his prescribed duties or engagements. One can continue them and at the same time think of Krishna by chanting
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
This will free one from material contamination and engage the mind and intelligence in Krishna. By chanting Krishna's names, one would be transferred to the supreme planet, hopefully forced also, Krishna Loka, without a doubt. And there's another concept I just want to add to this, and that is, although we have to have a healthy fear, and we should definitely fortify ourselves, when we are fortified by the continuous chanting of Hare Krishna, which to those who are engaged in activities for maintenance where you have to put your attention elsewhere from time to time or most of the day, then our acharyas say that word or the concept of doing it always means at least once a day. You can't skip a day and let the trail go cold. And if one is absorbed in chanting Hare Krishna, as we all know, there are immediate concomitant benefits as mentioned in various verses like Vasudeva Bhagavati, Janayat Yashavairagyam. And in this verse, Sutta Goswami says that just by doing direct activities of devotional service, then one naturally gets jnana, knowledge, which means to be aware that we're not our bodies. That's a gift. Nobody has that. Everyone thinks I'm my body. Everybody. Squirrels, dogs, people, presidents, everybody. It's great scholars in the universities all think I'm my body. I'm an American. I'm Swiss, and so forth. And then jnana and vairagya, and you also have this sense that you have a power you didn't have before to restrain your senses. And also, bhakti parishanu bhava virakta anyatra traisha trika eka kala prapadya manasya yatashnata sus tushti pushti shuddha payonugasam, which means that bhakti, or performing devotional service, directly engaging in Krishna service by chanting Hare Krishna, is compared to the eating process. When you're hungry and you eat a really good meal, you feel nourishment, satisfaction, and your hunger goes away. And similarly, when you do devotional service, then you feel bhakti, a sense of devotion to Krishna, anubhava, you see Krishna for yourself in everything. And most importantly, for many who are working in the world, then you have this sense of vairagya. Bhakti parishanu bhava virakti anyata traisha trika eka kala. And all of these come simultaneously, all these three, from chanting Hare Krishna. So I'd like to concur with my esteemed godbrother, associate, Bhagavad Acharya Prabhu, that this is the key. It's to remember Krishna, and then Prabhupada directly says here, that means chant Hare Krishna.
You can't do it otherwise.
Otherwise, it's not possible.
You can't remember Krishna without chanting Hare Krishna. You can't do that. It's essential, definitely.
Pavani Bhakti has a question or a comment to further the conversation.
Yes.
And we're still on slide 1.
Thank you, Maharaj. I just want to expand on Srivas Pandit Prabhu's question, especially with respect to karma and devotees, how they have to think about karma. There's a lot, like before I got initiated, I was believing in a lot of like rings, like ruby or sapphire, and something will happen to you, so you will that will help you to avoid that situation that is going to happen you because of karma. But after I got initiated, I was told, like, yeah, all your karma is taken by your Guru Maharaj, and then you need to just be equanimous in all situations. So at the same time, I also keep hearing, oh, but you should be smart enough. Like if there's going to be rain, you take an umbrella, so you wear that ring also. So is very confusing. Like as devotees, how should we think of these things?
Well, you can really get stuck on the mental platform about this stuff. The reality is, if you surrender to Krishna, there is no more karma. There's a beautiful purport. Could we get the purport up to 256? Anyway, just while we're waiting. Oh, we're going to have to wait. Here we are. So, we'll get the verse. The verse says, Dukeshvanu dvignamana sukeshu vigata spriha vitaraga bayakroda sita dir muni uchyate. One who is not disturbed in mind even amidst the threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called a sage of steady mind. So we start with a really nice piece of humor here from Prabhupada. Listen to this. The word muni means one who can agitate his mind in various ways for mental speculation without coming to a factual conclusion. That covers basically the whole of academia. Then it is said that every muni has a different angle of vision. And unless a muni differs from other munis, he cannot be called a muni in the strict sense of the word. I always get a laugh out of that every time I read it. Nashav rishir yasyam matam na binam Mahabharat Vanapava 3:13-117. But a stita deer muni, as mentioned herein by the Lord, is different from an ordinary muni. The stita deer muni is always in Krishna consciousness, for he has exhausted all his business of creative speculation. He is called Prashanta Nishesha Manoratantara, Stotra Ratna 43, or one who has surpassed the stage of mental speculations and has come to the conclusion that Lord Sri Krishna, or Vasudeva, is everything. Vasudeva Savamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. He is called a muni fixed in mind. Such a fully Krishna conscious person is not at all disturbed by the onslaughts of the threefold, end of the page, threefold miseries, for he accepts all miseries as the mercy of the Lord, thinking himself only worthy of more trouble due to his past misdeeds. And he sees that his miseries, by the grace of the Lord, are minimized to the lowest. Similarly, when he is happy, he gives credit to the Lord, thinking himself unworthy of the happiness. He realizes that it is due only to the Lord's grace that he is in such a comfortable condition and able to render better service to the Lord. And for the service of the Lord, he is always daring and active and is not influenced by attachment or aversion. Attachment means accepting things for one's own sense gratification, and detachment is the absence of such sensual attachment. But one fixed in Krishna consciousness has neither attachment nor detachment because his life is dedicated in the service of the Lord. Consequently, he is not at all angry, even when his attempts are unsuccessful. Success or no success, a Krishna conscious person is always steady in his determination. Yes? Krishna, Prabhupada nails it every time. Yes? I think another thing, though, in terms of the fear you're talking about, that I think we need to look a little bit deeper into. The point that Vaisesika Prabhu has made is very valid. But I think we are materially conditioned, and our fear is always the fear of losing it all. The fear of death, actually. Fear of, and you consider life, the way our lives are run in the materialistic society, it's all about the future. Right from the moment you're learning to read and write, it's about the future. Through primary, secondary, tertiary education, into the working world, into your own family life, and so on. It's all about the future. But within that future, you don't know where, you don't know when, and you don't know how you're going to meet death. And you can't make a deal. There's no negotiating with death. And nobody builds it into their agenda. I mean, everybody's got we got these handheld devices now. And you can ask anybody, what are you doing on such and such a day? And they can say, oh, well, yeah, and then they'll tell you. So you say to somebody, well, I'd like to make an appointment with you on the 26th of May at 3:30 p.m. And they look in, I'm sorry, I'm dying then. It's not in your agenda. It's not, but it's there. The thing one has to learn to live with in life, whether you're a devotee or not, is at any moment death will come. And if you're too much absorbed in your material activities, you're in big trouble, according to those verses from the 8th chapter. There's a very nice story in this regard about, it's called The Merchant of Baghdad. Does anybody know this story? Somebody said yes? No, anyway. The Merchant of Baghdad, very wealthy man, very well situated in the community. He sent his servant to the market early one morning to get some household goods. And he was just waiting around, doing a little bit of work in his business. And all of a sudden, his servant was back in an inordinate short time. And he was white as a ghost, and wide-eyed, and like shaking in fear. And he said, what's the matter? What's the matter? He said, I just saw death in the marketplace. He turned around, and I was staring him in the face. I know he's come to get me. So the businessman, he was a can-do person. He said, all right, let's deal with this. You take the fastest horse, my horse, the best horse in the stables, and you ride to Samara, and you go to my brother's house in Samara. You'll get there by afternoon. You'll be safe there. Don't worry. So off he goes. And then the merchant's like, well, this is no good. I sent this man to the market to get things from my house. So when he comes back in this state, I've had to send him away. I've lost my servant. I've lost my best horse, and I don't have what I needed. So he's very annoyed. He said, well, I'll go and get it myself. And he goes down to the market, and he's walking through the market, buying his things, and he sees death. But death's got his back to him. But he gets angry. Immediately he gets angry, and he comes up, and he turns in front of death, and he's saying, now look here, what do you think you're doing? You've completely disturbed my household today. And death is just looking at him very calmly and says, well, what do you mean? He said, well, I've lost my best servant now. You've scared the wits out of him. I had to send him away. And death is very calm, and he says to him, well, yes, actually, I was just as surprised to see him here as he was to see me, because I have an appointment with him this afternoon in Samara. But I do have an appointment with you now. So there it is.
There you have it.
There you have it.
I'll expend a little more on fear as well. Could you turn the Zoom back on in case there's other devotees up there? I'd like to see them. There's a way in which, as we do chant Hare Krishna every day and we integrate ourselves with the world, we're working and we're experiencing the tribulations of doing that, we get an integrated realization of Krishna consciousness. It's never recommended. In fact, one of the main themes of the Bhagavad Gita is that one shouldn't give up one's duty. That even though it looks unfavorable or seems to have some fault, Krishna says, well, everything has fault just as fire has smoke. You can't abandon your duty. It's in the mode of passion. You won't get the result you were looking for anyway. So you have to tolerate that and keep going. And the Sri Upanishad says, Vidyam cha yas tadvedo bayam saha avidya yamratum tirtva vidya yamratum ashnute. Only one who can learn the process of nascience and that of transcendental knowledge side by side can transcend the influence of repeated birth and death and enjoy the full blessings of immortality. And the implication of this is that, as Prabhupada describes in the purport, you have to work anyway. It's not that you can give it up and go hide somewhere. However, if you're chanting Hare Krishna, then the experiences that you have as you're working in the world and finding inevitable, or they find you, reversals of fortune, and undergoing the stress of just being in the world, you become more observant about how the energies are actually working. And that integrated experience, seeing the spiritual energy and Krishna's external energy simultaneously in your life, makes you complete and whole and able to negotiate the world and to come to the level of enlightened engagement with it. And so although we should have a modicum of fear, at least that's healthy as per what Bhagavad Acharya Prabhu said. Normally, I'm just afraid of losing what I have. But if we can develop a sense that I don't want to lose the association of devotees. There's this reply by Ramananda Roy to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what's the worst that can happen in the world? And that is losing the association of devotees. And so we could develop that, at least theoretically, rather than the fear of just losing what we have, fear of losing one's service, of losing one's attachment to the holy name and so forth. We can become fearful about those things. And meanwhile, it's our experience that, all of ours together, that as we're meeting like this several times a week, we're going on with our devotional service, and at the same time, and I don't know how all of you do it, it's superhuman. I think of all of you as superhuman. You're doing these jobs, you're raising families, all at the same time. You're doing devotional service practically peerless. And so what you're getting overall is a very complete realization, because juxtaposed with your realization of how nice Krishna consciousness is and that you're not your body and so forth, then isn't it when you go outside and you see how blatantly ignorant everyone is of the actual situation in life, and as Bhagavad Acharya Prabhu was pointing out, people don't even give it a thought, then that juxtaposition gives us even a stronger realization of how important it is. Okay, a couple more points. Yes, is that Sadhu? Okay, Sadhu Vrindavan in the back, please get him a mic. Does he have one?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances to Krishna Srila Prabhupada. In the beginning of the class, Bhagavad Acharya Prabhu was talking about how we should do devotional service with the desire to please the Lord, and by that, you won't get any karmic reactions. So my question was, at least for me, sometimes I do devotional service with other intentions rather than pleasing the Lord. So how do I set my mind by default that, I should do service to please the Lord, or when I do service, I should please the Lord? Because you always quote the verse, Anya Bilashitam Shunyam Gyana Karmadyanavritam Anukulyena Krishna Anu Shilanam Bhaktiruttama, which basically means that we should do devotional service to please the Lord. So how do I set my mind in a way that by default when I do a service, I do it to only please the Lord?
You're the one who always quotes that verse.
Is he?
He quotes a lot of verses.
Yeah?
Bhagavat Ashraya Prabhu, over to you.
You quote a lot of verses?
A lot of verses, a lot
You know a lot of
Leela.
verses?
Not that many.
Not that many. Do you know 1322?
No.
Maybe we could have a look at 1322 just quickly. These short purports, all of Srila Prabhupada's purports are wonderful, but you meet these little 1 and 2 paragraph purports.
Everyone please move up by 7.2 inches.
Purusha Prakriti.
You can come onto the infield here,
There we go.
in case we lay a bunt. Okay.
Purusha Prakritisto hi bhunte Prakriti jan gunan. Karanam guna sangosya sarasat yoni janmasu. The living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the 3 modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus, he meets with good and evil among various species. Is it okay to read a whole purport?
We insist upon it.
Yeah, I insist, because this is one of those purports where in the first paragraph...
I said I insist upon it.
Oh, you insist?
I didn't say if you insist.
Oh, well, I do too. So. In the first paragraph, Prabhupada completely encapsulates the situation in the material world. And in the second paragraph, he completely encapsulates how to get out of it. This verse is very important for an understanding of how the living entities transmigrate from one body to another. It is explained in the second chapter that the living entity is transmigrating from one body to another just as one changes dress. This change of dress is due to his attachment to material nature, material existence. Now, just see how Prabhupada now just turns that inside out. As long as he is captivated by this false manifestation, he has to continue transmigrating from one body to another. Due to his desire to lord it over material nature, he is put into such undesirable circumstances. Under the influence of material nature, under the influence of material desire, rather, the entity is born sometimes as a demigod, sometimes as a man, sometimes as a beast, as a bird, as a worm, as an aquatic, as a saintly man, as a bug. This is going on. And in all cases, the living entity thinks himself to be the master of his circumstances, yet he is under the influence of material nature. Now that's the situation. How he is put into such different bodies is explained here. It is due to association with the different modes of nature. Nature, as they say in America. Nature. One has
What
to...
did you say?
Nature.
Okay.
I must...
Thank you.
One has to rise, therefore, above the 3 material modes, and become situated in the transcendental position. This is called Krishna consciousness. There's an embedded verse there.
Mam shayo vyabhicharena bhakti. No?
Trigunya Vishaya Veda Nistrigunya Vavajuna.
Trigunya Vavarjuna.
Listen, become transcendental to the modes. This is called Krishna consciousness. Unless one is situated in Krishna consciousness, his material consciousness will oblige him to transfer from one body to another because he has material desires since time immemorial. But he has to change that conception. That change, this is probably one of the most important sentences in the whole of Prabhupada's books. that change can be affected only by hearing from authoritative sources. The best example is here. Arjuna is hearing the science of God from Krishna. The living entity, and this is really the core of the answer to your question. It's a gradual process. The living entity, if he submits to this hearing process, will lose his long-cherished desire to dominate material nature. And gradually and proportionately, as he reduces his long desire to dominate, he comes to enjoy spiritual happiness. In a Vedic mantra, it is said that as he becomes learned in association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he proportionately relishes his eternal blissful life. That association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead begins with chanting the holy name. Hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing Bhagavad Gita. Proportionately, gradually and proportionately, the disease goes away. I think I was watching a Vaisesika Prabhu a couple of weeks ago, and he talked about time-release capsules. Yes? You have them in America. You must have them in America, because he talked about it. Where you've got a cold and you get this little capsule and it's got different colored pilules in it, white, red, green, yellow, and it says after the first 3 hours the white one works, then after that the red one works for another 3 hours, and then so on, and you have 12 hours of relief from the symptoms of your cold. So this is how the process works. We have an initial feel-good experience, and then anatta nivritti begins to become an issue. Yes? But if we become practiced in hearing, and we become submissive to the hearing process, just hearing this sound vibration, gradually, things that bother us evaporate away. Yes? And that's why Srila Prabhupada always used to say, now that you have come, don't go away.
Sadhu Vrindavan, do you still have a mic?
Yes, Maharaj.
Can you say back in 3 sentences the essence of what he just answered you?
Prabhu said to take it slow, it's a process. And in the purport, it also said that you change, your desire to dominate the material world by hearing from the authoritative service and doing what they tell you to do.
Bravo. Bravissimo. Sadhu, sadhu. And now somebody 25 or under, please give the main points that we've talked about from today, or you can share it with friends from the research department. Give main points. Anything you heard so far? Any main point? Any minor point?
By maintaining a healthy level of fear of Maya and taking complete shelter under Krishna, one can act in a very Krishna-conscious way in their material and spiritual lives in a way that's pleasing to Krishna.
We'll take it. Lightning round, go quick. Everyone give something. Work with me, people. Put some more mics over here so they don't keep past that. Oh, good, Mart.
In ISV, I feel like we're very blessed to have a lot of great association. I was remembering the point that Prabhu made that, or I think you mentioned that what Ramananda Roy said to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is that the greatest thing that we can lose is great association. I feel like we should take advantage of all this association we have.
Sadhu, sadhu. Three more, and then, Balaram.
Is this the genius, Balaram?
many of the points today concluded with that in order to either gain the personal association of the Lord or to perform devotional service, one must start by chanting the holy name. And that's how everything else will follow after that.
Bravo. Salve, salve. Two more. Avantika.
I like the part in the purport we read which said that a devotee sees anything good or anything bad as Krishna's mercy and always just thinks about Krishna no matter any situation they're in.
Kind of answers your question from yesterday too, right? Bravo. Bravo. Okay, one more.
In the beginning, we talked about karma, and we also talked about how when we're in Krishna consciousness, if we just depend fully on Krishna, we don't have to worry about the past, although the past may still remember us. As long as we're under Krishna's shelter, it doesn't matter.
Haribo. Okay. Now, we have just a few more minutes for some chanting, and then His Holiness Indra Maharaj has some announcement to make at 5 minutes till. So let's start a little kirtan, taking us all the way to China. I'd like to thank Bhagavad Ashraya Prabhu for coming here to ISV. Anybody who wants him to come back, please clap. And all right, 70 Haribos is not bad.
I'm here on a pilgrimage to be with you all. This yatra is a shining light in the constellation of yatras of ISKCON. What has transpired and is transpiring here is an inspiration to the world. So the privilege and the honor of coming here is something that I feel very deeply, and I'm very grateful to Vaisesika Prabhu and Mother Nirakula for just being my friends for so long and giving me service in relationship to their service. So thank you all for such a warm welcome. And I do pray that I can return. And I have to go quickly today because I promised to do a program in Bhakti SF. But I do want to come again and get to know all of you. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. please make a pathway for His Holiness Indra Junior Maharaj.
About 10 days ago, early in the morning, I got a phone call from Maharaj, and it was a very mysterious phone call to start. He let us know then, he let me know that he was coming here today, and that he had a surprise. That he had a surprise for my husband. I wasn't to give a hint. I wasn't to tell him anything. So, surprise.
Thank you. So I'd like to have everyone's complete attention. I know we've had some nice philosophical discussions, but I'd like to share some nectar with all of you. In the Upandesamrita, we hear Rupa Goswami say that devotees, they have 6 loving exchanges by which they develop their love for each other, for the spiritual master, and for Krishna. Narottam Das Thakur says, Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita. And one of those loving exchanges is exchanging gifts. Someone gives a gift and someone receives it. Another way is to reveal your mind, something Krishna conscious, and the other person listens and becomes enlivened. And the other is you cook prasadam and someone takes your prasadam and eats it. First Krishna, then you. So today I would like to offer a very, 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 very special gift, actually a number of gifts to my dear godbrother Vaisesika Prabhu. In Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami says that when you offer a gift, it should have some value. It should have some deep meaning. It should be something you're attached to. You know, when you give it, it hurts a little bit. But in doing so, you're demonstrating your affection and your love for that person. So over the years, in my Krishna conscious career, which has expanded now to 51 years, I spent a lot of time in India these days, in Vrindavan and other places as well. It was one of the perks of the pandemic that I was stuck in India. And I have been gifted many valuable things myself from various illustrious personalities, different sadhus, different temples, different priests, etc. And I've always been taught to share. When I was young, my parents, I was the eldest, and then there was my brother, then it was my sister. So to set a good example, my father said, whatever you get, you divide it in 3 parts. Now that's not easy with your siblings as you grow up. Whatever was food or a gift or money or a trip somewhere, it was always the 3 of us. And then when I joined the Krishna conscious movement, I also learned that we should share our good fortune, because by sharing our good fortune, Krishna blesses us with more good fortune. So today I have these very, very, very special gifts, unique in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, unique on this earth planet. These are gifts that even the devatas will be jealous with when he gets them. And I'm not exaggerating. And I don't think they'll be jealous. I think they'll be very proud of Vaisesika Prabhu. They'll think that, yes, he is the person who deserves these gifts. I think they'll think like that, because we all know the amazing service that he's done in his 50 years, something like that, 48, 40, yeah? Huh? Next year's 50. Give him a big round of applause. Everyone knows in our movement and beyond, in other spiritual organizations, what he's done to spread, let us use a general term, Vedic culture around the world, following in the footsteps of our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. particularly according to the desires of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Yuga Avatar, and our acharyas, and Srila Prabhupada in particular, by fulfilling Mahaprabhu's instructions to distribute this holy name to every town and village, specifically in the way that Srila Prabhupada envisioned it. He said very clearly, distribute books, distribute books, distribute books. This is something that's on the tip of the tongue of every devotee in ISV. Not only that, he's expanding it here, but he's expanding it in Europe and Australasia, Russia, Canada, South America. This is a truly empowered devotee. This he did in the past, this he's doing now, and may Lord Krishna grant him a long life that he continue to do this for many, many years to come, because it is the greatest gift the world can receive, spiritual welfare. He's the great general who's doing the desire of Srila Prabhupada and distributing books everywhere in the world. Yes. So you will see that the gifts that I got, that I split into, because I have many godbrothers who are also contributing to the Sankirtan movement. But, there's some, I would say, near and dear. Although we haven't spent a lot of time together, we think alike, we do things alike, we have the same heart which was created by Srila Prabhupada. So I have so much affection for Vaisesika Prabhu and so much amazement at what he's doing. He inspires me in my particular services as well. So I'm very happy to share the following gifts with him. Hold on to your seats. A few of them I'm going to keep confidential. I have to tell them in the back because it's just quite extraordinaire. But listen to these particular gifts. A couple of months ago in Vrindavan, I was invited to a particular temple. I'd heard about it. I'd been invited before, but I'd never had the opportunity to go. It's a temple that is run by those in the disciplic succession of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. I'd heard about this temple because I'm doing a lot of work in the Vrindavan Research Institute, which is a prestigious organization that has over 33,000 Vedic scriptures, ancient scriptures, in particular the works of our Goswamis, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, many of the great devotees. For many years it was offhands, no one could go there, just scholars, but recently they opened it up. They invited me to come in for whatever reason and help them digitalize the books and make the books safe from the bugs and the time elements, etc. So I'm working closely. So I saw Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu with my own eyes, the original copy written by Rupa Goswami. I saw Prarthana by Narottam Das Thakur, one of my heroes. I held it in my hands. It was literally falling apart because of age and lack of attention. But I saw that. I saw many books like that. So I asked, do you have Chaitanya Charitamrita? He said, no, but there's this one temple in Vrindavan that we're sure they have the authorized original version of Antya-lila, the last 2 chapters of Antya-lila. It's known by all the scholars in India and everywhere. So if you ever get a chance, you can go there. Maybe they bring it out once or twice a year. Try to go on the right date. Anyway, my mind was, I want to go see. So I went with the kirtan party. And it was a very old temple in an alleyway, some dark part of Vrindavan, shadow. And we went in and we had this kirtan for 3 hours. In the old days, we called them whomper stompers. It was an amazing kirtan. And all the sadhus that lived there, they were kind of against the wall looking like this. One by one, we dragged them in. And they danced and they danced and they danced. And even the Mahant, he was into 90 years old. Oh, jai go, jai jai, jai, whoa, whoa, whoa. So it was an amazing kirtan. So afterwards, he whispered in my ear, Maharaj, would you like to see the original copy of Anchulila Chaitanya Charitamrita? I went, yes! So he took us upstairs, it's winding stairs, and they had this box with locks on it, and they unlocked it, and then there was another box, and another box, and another box, and then suddenly there it was, looking exactly like the same 500-year-old scriptures that I'd seen in Vrindavan Research Institute. And I was literally shaking. He was also, because it wasn't the time of year they pull it out. But he pulled it out like this, took the parchment, he pulled it up, I saw the writing very clearly, and he just nicked a little bit of the corner of the box, and a piece fell off. And I looked at him. This would make a great movie. He looked at me, and I went, so he said, okay, you're a disciple of Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. You people are distributing Chaitanya Charitamrita all around the world. Here's this piece. He picked up and he gave it to me. The original. For a book distributor, I also did books, not as long as I did for 11 years, but that meant so much to me. To have that original parchment that was, that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami wrote. So I cut it in half, and I'm giving it to Vaisesika Prabhu, the second half of that. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Anchulila, the last two chapters. I don't know if it's chapter 1 or chapter 2, but I'm going to give half of that gift. I'm going to share it with Vaisesika Prabhu. It's not over. I also have a good friend who's taking care of many of the remnants that were kept by Srila Jiva Goswami. He was custodian to many important artifacts of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, other Goswamis, Janavamata, etc. This temple that I visit, near to Radha Damodar Temple, a good friend of mine, Anup Goswami, he has the original beads of Srila Jiva Goswami. He's very particular to let anyone see them because they're also very, very, very old. I actually had the chance once to chant on them like this. And as I was chanting on them, a little piece of one of the beads fell off. And I looked at Goswami, and Goswami looked at me, and I prayed to Srila Jiva Goswami, just please, just let me have that mercy, and I promise you my japa will improve, and my heart will become clean, and I'll do my best to preach your glories and what you've written all around the world. So there was a pause, and then Goswami picked it up. He said, okay, you can have this little piece of Srila Jiva Goswami's japa beads. They're big beads. So today, in honor of the service that he's done and he will do in his lifetime, I'm giving him half of that piece of the bead. I was recently in, what was that state we were in? No, before Jharkhand. Gaya. I was in Gaya. And there's many beautiful holy places in Gaya, but one interesting place I visited was the tree that Lord Buddha got enlightened under. He was a prince and he left home, he became a renunciate. 48 days he meditated under this tree. The tree is still there. There's Buddhist monks from all over India. They live there. There's many beautiful shrines and samadhis, etc. And the original tree is there. And I asked one of the Buddhist, mahants, I said, can I have a little piece of the tree? He said, no. Like, that doesn't happen to me. So as I'm sitting there, boing, a berry drops off the tree onto my head, onto the floor, and I look at the monkey and say, all right, take it. So I'm giving him half the berry. It's a long story. We don't have time now, but there's another banyan tree in Gaya. During the time that Sitaram and Lakshman were in the forest, they stayed at Gaya. There's a particular pastime where Sita Devi blessed a banyan tree to be immortal, to never die. That banyan tree is so large, it extends for, you just can't even see how long. You know, the trees go up and down like that, banyan trees. That tree is still existing. And we were there with one of the pujaris who does artik to it every day. And I said, can I take a little piece of this immortal banyan tree? He said, yep. Oh, wow, that was easy. So he broke off a little piece of that ancient tree. I'll tell Vaish the story later, but I'm giving him half of the piece of the immortal banyan tree blessed by Mother Sita. We also went to the Jharkhand forest because I wanted to see if, you know, when I chanted Hare Krishna, if the lions would also chant, the tigers, but they ran after us, so I didn't. But it's still a wild place, the Jharkhand forest. And there's a place where that famous kirtan took place, where Balabhadra Bhattacharya and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chanted. And the tigers came, and the deer came, and the rabbits came, and the squirrels came, and the butterflies came. They all came, and by the potency of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they all chanted Hare Krishna audibly like this: Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. And to demonstrate the potency of the holy name so that we would have faith to chant Hare Krishna in this age of Kali, those animals, every single one of them, attained prema, the highest stage of prema. They all started crying. They give up their envious nature. The tigers were embracing the deer were embracing the tigers, the elephants were embracing the butterflies, I don't know. But it was this amazing scene. And because it was so ecstatic, even inanimate objects melted in ecstasy, like the ground. The ground melted in ecstasy. As a result, we have all these footprints of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. His footprints are there. He was big, 7 feet tall. His feet were this big. They're embedded in the stone. The elephant's feet are embedded in the stone. The tigers and the deer are right next to each other. They're all mixed like this, like they were dancing together. It goes on for 2 kilometers. So Srila Sanatana Goswami, he went there twice to just be in that place where this kirtan took place, and he wanted to embrace the footprints of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He went 2 times to embrace those footprints, and I embraced those footprints too. And just next to me as I was moving, a little piece of one of the footprints broke off. There was nobody to ask. I took it from that special place where that immortal kirtan took place, demonstrating the power of the holy name. I have a little piece of one of the footprints. I'm giving half to Vaisesika. It wasn't easy to get there. I don't think any of you will make it. It's very dangerous, but we did go there. Some years ago when I was in Radhakund, there's the home of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur there where he stayed when he went to Radhakund. And his son, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, would also stay there. And the shoes of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur are still there being worshipped by members of the Gaudiya Math. Many years ago when I was there, the Pujari gave me a small piece of the shoe of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who gave the instruction to Prabhupada, if you ever get money, print books. I'm giving half of that piece to Vaisesika. One of the intimate associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was Madhu Pandit. Madhu Pandit was not one of the 6 Goswamis, but he was very dear to Mahaprabhu because Madhu Pandit is the one who found the deity of Gopinath, very beautiful deity of Radha Gopinath. The deity was worshipped in Vrindavan for some time, but then when Aurangzeb attacked Vrindavan to destroy Vrindavan, many deities were moved slowly to Jaipur, and Gopinath was one of those deities who's still being worshipped in Jaipur, Gopinath. So the person who found him and who was the pujari was Madhu Pandit. excellent pujari, very famous, rasik, bhakta, and he was famous that he had a coat made of tiny tulsi beads. They're about this big, and it was sewed together in such a beautiful way. It's a full-length coat, and a tulsi hat, full on. It's just tulsi beads, and that was being stored in the Gopinath temple in Jaipur for 300 years since Aurangzeb attacked. It was there. It's in a little cubby hole there. So I came, and Madhu Pandit is one of my heroes. He was a close associate of Mahaprabhu. So I offered to build a shrine in Madhu Pandit's honor, with different quotes from the scriptures about him in the walls of that shrine, and a beautiful painting of him discovering the Gopinath deity, and the coat. The coat was deteriorating after so many years, 500 years. So we put the coat in this bulletproof box that nobody can break into, such a treasure from the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And I was allowed by the pujaris to carry that coat. My hands were shaking. I carried that coat, and I put it into the box, and as I put it in, the string that was attached to the coat, it got stuck on my finger. It had 4 or 5 beads of that tulsi coat on it. I'm giving 3 of them to Vaisesika. There's 3 other things that we will tell you in confidence. Just it's like too deep and too amazing. Nobody will believe it. But to begin with, here's my card to you. You can open it up and read it to everybody because we love you and all that you do for everyone.
I don't know if this is fair for me to read the card. From morning first light to evening's last star. Remember how special you are. Dearest Vaisesika Prabhu, when giving a gift, we are taught to give something that is valuable and most dear to us, so as to show our genuine love and appreciation to the one receiving the gift. The items in this kavacha are some of the greatest and dearest treasures in my life. Your servant, Indradyumna Swami.
It's opulent kavacha, but the opulence inside far outdoes the opulence of the kavacha. And please, although it's very beautiful and just gorgeous, he's very shy, actually. I know Vaishis, allow him to wear it at all times in front of you and the world to show how much we and our disciplic succession appreciate the service that he's doing. Now, yeah. I told you.
Goodness gracious.
22 karat.
This is love.
working man. It looks good, right? Everything I spoke about and more is in this cover shirt. This is a gift even the demigods would want. I'm not going to do it. I can't do the service you're doing.
Pardon me? What did she say? Oh, Krishna. Oh, my God.
And?
Hare Krishna. Well, when I just got embraced by Maharaj, I was feeling that I didn't want to let him go. That's actually how I felt, because you're in the business wholesale of uplifting me. You have throughout our lives. At intervals, you check in and pull me back up again. But this is ridiculous. No, it's not. It's the result of your complete absorption in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. And I saw it when we stayed on the roof together in Govardhan. I think it was 2001, maybe. Every day you'd go off somewhere and something amazing would happen because you're actually living in those pastimes. And as a loving exchange, this is something that will sustain me the rest of my life, make me at least start considering to become serious in Krishna consciousness. I'm feeling it already. And to be in your company and to feel your dadati pratigranati is absolutely what I needed to stay fixed in Krishna consciousness. And I'm deeply touched. I couldn't be more deeply touched by your friendship and the loving way in which you always encourage everyone, but especially me. Hare Krishna.
Also, it opens. You can screw it. I mean, don't do it now.
Okay.
But one side you can twist it, it opens up. But that's just in case you want to put something else in.
Okay.
We sealed everything. You know how with a piece of wood we did like a plastic seal over it, so it'll never get damaged by water or weather, and it'll stay like that forever. But they're all little pieces like that, protected. And this is about the books, Narottam, Rupa Goswami.
Should I say something?
I didn't want to repeat because
It's too much.
yeah, it's the institute. You know, they gave it to us. The same thing. I was holding the books, and they said, "Okay, you can take it." I didn't want to advertise it.
Okay.
The Bhakti Rasamriti singles, the originals there, and Prarthana. Probably sing just the original.
He's just telling me about the other gifts, which can't be mentioned in public, and I'm for once speechless. Hare Krishna. I don't know, it doesn't seem like, later then. Yeah. We brought a gift for you, but it's not going to work right now. But that's how you move in the world. Maharaj, it's such a delight to receive this and to have this exchange, and I'll never forget it in any lifetime. And I'll have this by me always, my heart and mind, and hopefully carry me to wherever you are so we can serve together another round in Prabhupada's service. We first met in New Mayapur actually. And I was just there, and I was joyful the whole time because I kept telling everyone, I met Indra Maharaj here for the first time in the Pujari room. We encountered each other for the first time. He came and said, hey, what are you doing? I was in there doing puja, and we started a conversation. And from then, from that day, when I saw him, I always look forward to seeing you again and again and again and again. And every time it's been in these kinds of circumstances.
For me, just to see you from a distance, going to Japan and going to England, having these seminars, just as the pandemic ended, you were the first one out the door. And as a result, millions of books have been distributed because of this great general in Prabhupada's army. So you actually deserve these things more than me, and I'm very happy to share them with you. You are even more closer as brothers now because we have the same cherished things close to our heart. I also have a kavacha like that.
Well, I definitely feel like now I have something to live up to. And I mean, as I was just writing a card to you, I was appreciating, as I said, and just that you're walking the earth. We feel it, and I feel it all the time. And everywhere you go, Krishna consciousness sprouts up. Because
the books are there.
When a Vaishnava's there, then everything becomes possible. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Panchatattva, Shri Shri Gauranitai, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Lakshmi Nrsingadev, if you so desire, please always give us the good fortune of being in the association of His Holiness Indra Maharaj, following his footsteps to enthusiastically spread the Sankirtan movement all over the world. Please always let me be in his loving embrace, and all of us follow in his footsteps to the best of our ability. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone who agrees with this prayer in part or in whole, please say Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna! Gaur Premanande Haribo. Maharaj is jet lagged. He just got in and he's going to go back. Gaur Premanande Haribo. Panchakalpatarishak. So now we could put all the seats away, all the asanas, and roll up this carpet, and we're going to have Artik ceremony.
His Holiness Indra Swami Maharaj ki jai. His Grace Vaisesika Maharaj ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
You could do it now.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama,
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Last chance, everybody sing. Okay, everybody together, last one. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Vivrajikacharya Stokar Sri Madhabhai Charanara Vindabhakti Vedanta Sai Maharaj Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Vivrajikacharya Stokar Sri Madhabhai Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavi Ki Jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Sri Vrindavan Ki Jai. Sri Mayapur Navditam Ki Jai. Sri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Jamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Samveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glorious to some devotees. All glorious to some devotees. All glorious to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande. Jai, can I hear?
Hare Krishna. Before we sing today's Nishingadev prayers, we have a few requests for all of the devotees' prayers. The first is for Leela Nandini Mataji's maternal uncle who passed away, and she requests that we pray for his protection. And we also have Sukada Mataji's brother who passed away who is in Cambodia in a coma, and she's requesting all the devotees to pray for him as well. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Praladaladaye Hiranyakashi Purvakshahai Hiranyakashi Purvakshahai Shilatanka Nakalai Shilatanka Nakalai Ito Nashima Parto Nashima Ito Nashima Ito Nashima Parato Nashima Ito Nashima Parato Nashima Yato Yato Yamitato Nashima Yato Yato Yamitato Nashima Bahe Nashima Hridaye Nashima Bahe Nashima Hridaye Nashima Bahe Nashima Hridaye Nashima Narasimha Madhe Sharanam Prapade Narasimha Madhe Sharanam Prapade Tavakara Kamalavare Naka Adbhuta Shinna Nalita Hiranyakashipu Tanuvena Keshavadena Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Lakshmi Narasimha Devi Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Narahari Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Bhakta Prahlad, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Bhakta Prahlad, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitya Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitya Gaura Hari Bol. जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय भक्त शिरोमणि प्रहलाद महाराज की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की
Hare Krishna. Welcome to ISKCON of Silicon Valley on this very special day. Typically I would say thank you Vaisesika Prabhu for the wonderful class, and I do say that, but there's so much more that occurred today which we were all so fortunate to witness, which is an interaction between two loving God brothers, and that in and of itself is so valuable, but also the gift they shared was so valuable. And we would like to thank Vaisesika Prabhu, His Holiness Indra Maharaj, and Bhagavad Ashraya Prabhu for gracing us with their presence today. And this wonderful occasion was followed by a kirtan that was led by the youth and Vaisesika Prabhu, and Sundarananda Prabhu who led the Nrsingadev prayers. Each and every Sunday feast is put together by a meticulous team of devotees, and also by groups of sponsors who kindly agree to sponsor the feast so we can have wonderful prasadam and a wonderful time of association together. So we want to thank these sponsors, and when I do call your name, please come up and say a few words to the devotees here, and then there will be a gift afterwards. Oh, it's right here, and I'll give you a gift. All right. So first and foremost, we would like to thank Mahima Ketrapal for sponsoring today's feast on the occasion of her son's birthday, which was on May 22nd. Or is it going to be on May 22nd? Whichever one. Oh, it's today, sorry.
Hi everyone. My son's birthday was on 19th of May, and it's really great to be here and celebrate his birthday with all of you. And he's really happy. He's come here for the first time, and he's really happy and he's enjoyed. And I'm just happy and grateful to be amongst all of you. Thank you.
The next is Samir and Nidhi, who are sponsoring on the occasion of their son Rayansh's birthday. Are you here, Samir, Nidhi, Rayansh? Oh, are you well? I love your outfit. Is this your first time at ISV? Is your first time?
See, you coming first time here? Or you coming every time?
Every time.
Every time.
Yeah, I think we would like to express gratitude to everybody here. Our son's birthday is on June 1st, but I think Maharaji won't be there at that time, so we figured out this day would be better to seek his blessings. Yeah. Thank you so much.
You want to sing something? Can you sing something? Some bhajan? Nursing, say Hare Krishna? Please? You shy? Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Say Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Our next sponsor is Niket Prabhu, who is sponsoring the Sunday feast on the occasion of his son Nivan's birthday. So Nivan is going to share with us what he liked about the program today. What did you like? Anything?
What? Okay, thank you so much.
All right, this is a gift for you. We also have Sukada Gauranga Prabhu, who is sponsoring in the memory of his father on the day of his disappearance. Sukada Gauranga Prabhu. Oh, he's outside, so we'll give him the sweets later. And we have one more anonymous sponsor. That's all the sponsor for today. Avantika will now announce the host of cooks.
Hare Krishna, today's prasadam was cooked by Siddha Katha Prabhu, Savarna Gopika Mataji, Sindhu Kanya Mataji, Vinay Prabhu, Mukta Mataji, Arun Prabhu, Achyuta Radhika Mataji, Shraddhavati Mataji, Hari Katha Prabhu, Vishwajit Prabhu, and Grace Mataji.
Before we go to prasadam announcements, Tarun Prabhu has an announcement about the BTGs.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Every year around this time, we renew the subscription for the Back to Godhead magazine started by Srila Prabhupada. And this year, we started again taking subscriptions for 2022 and 2023 up till May. So please stop by outside at the book table, and I will be there to help you out to start the subscription. And this is nice magazine. It would be nice for you, for anyone, if you have just laying around your sofa or side table, and you can just grab it and read a page or two. And so you feel energetic, and you will feel connected. And there are nice pictures, so it is also good for children. They look at pictures and they remember stories. And this is a bi-monthly magazine. Every 2 months you will get a copy. And every copy has stories about the pastimes that happen during that kind of time of the year, like festivals and everything. And it also has some news around and some purports from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, all those nice stuff. And sometimes people wonder, what should I read? Where do I start? Srimad Bhagavatam is so big, Bhagavad Gita, what should I pick, if I have some time? So in that case, this magazine is very nice. You flip any page and you get just random reading, and that will nourish you. Thank you so much.
Kitna paisa?
Yes. It's very cheap. $20 for full year.
Full year?
Yes.
$20 only.
And free shipping. It will come to right your door. And you can subscribe for yourself, or you can say just, hey, I want to sponsor, and please give this subscription to anybody who cannot afford. So please consider, and I request we have some minimum number to fulfill for the subscription, so that the USPS gives us like cheap shipping rate. So please come and subscribe. Thank you so much. And we want to keep the Back to Godhead alive. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Haribol. Now we'll have prasadam after the prasadam prayers, and Prasadam will be served outside. You can line up and grab your plate and honor prasadam outside. Thank you so much for coming, and we hope to see you again. Hare Krishna. Sharira vidyaja jodendriya taheka jiva pale vishaya sagare tarmade jivati lobho masudhimati